Hi, my name's Andy and I work for the Pace Trust, which is a group in Poole, Bournemouth and Christchurch that does assemblies, RE lessons and lunchtime clubs, and we're going to have a look at an assembly now. But first, we're going to do our own version of Joe Wicks's workout. Okay, we're going to think about roller coasters. Does anyone like roller coasters? Okay, what I want you to do is I want you to follow me, and we're going to reach up really high, and then suddenly, when you're ready, 1, 2, 3, we're going to go really low. And one to the side, ready, and the other side, and going to go down really low, and stay there, ready, and back up, and down, and to the side again, and back, and sit down. Okay, imagine that roller coaster of highs and lows, times when it seems to stop and times when it goes really fast. And you might think that sometimes feels a bit like life. In fact, it feels a bit like the guys in this story. But before that, we've got a little bit of a quiz. You're going to see on the screen some faces that you should hopefully recognise, but they look a little bit different, and you've got to try and work out who they are. Okay, here's the first one. Any ideas who it is? Who do you reckon? Okay, it's a bit of an easy one. That is Justin Bieber. In fact, he's still got a little bit of the same hairstyle even now. Okay, number 2. Any ideas? This is a little bit more of a tricky one. That's a younger Donald Trump. It's hard to tell, isn't it? He's changed so much. Okay, and now number 3. Any ideas who that is? That's Lady Gaga without any makeup on. That's Lady Gaga looking like she does when she probably buys her milk at the corner shop in the morning. Okay, number 4. That's Billie Eilish with her hood up. Billie Eilish is singing the latest James Bond theme tune. Number 5, now that's an easy one. That's Katy Perry with blue hair. And number 6. If you're a Doctor Who fan, it's the latest Doctor Who, it's Jodie Whittaker, but she's dressed up for another role. Number 7. If you like your football, that's Bournemouth manager Eddie Howe. And lastly, number 8. That's Joe Wicks, dressed as Scooby-Doo. Brilliant. How did you get on? Did you get most of those right? I must admit, some of them were quite difficult. I want to tell you a story now about two people who felt highs and lows, and about 2 people who didn't recognise somebody they knew quite well. It starts off with 2 of Jesus' friends and disciples walking away from Jerusalem, and they're feeling really sad. They're really at a low point. They believed Jesus was the Messiah, the chosen one, the one they were waiting for, the one who was going to sort it all out. And yet Jesus had been crucified and put in a tomb. Their dreams and their hopes had been smashed, and they're feeling really low, and they're walking away from Jerusalem. And then this guy walks alongside them and says, "Guys, why are you looking so sad?" They were a bit shocked, and they said, "Are you the only person around here who doesn't know what's happening? We were following this guy Jesus. We thought he was the one, but he was killed, and now he's buried in a tomb." And this guy began to explain to them all about the scriptures, all about the story of God, and about how Jesus was God's rescue plan to come and to save the world, about how Jesus had to die. And as they walked, they were feeling really low, and gradually they started to feel a little crack of hope in their hearts. And they walked for miles, about 7 miles, we reckon. And then they were going to stop for some food, and this guy carried on, looked like he was going to carry on walking. And they said, come, stay, eat with us, have something to eat. And this guy came and joined them, and he took the bread and he gave God thanks, and suddenly they realised that this guy who'd been walking with them was Jesus, and they hadn't recognised him. This was Jesus alive, Jesus resurrected, Jesus who wasn't dead anymore. And the disciples said their hearts burned within them. That's a great expression, that they were so excited and they ran all the way from this village called Emmaus, that's about 7 miles away, all the way to Jerusalem to tell the other disciples, we have seen the Lord, he's alive, Jesus is alive. So they went from a place of despair to a place of overwhelming hope and excitement as they talked to Jesus and they came to realise and recognise who he was. I don't know where you are today. Maybe you're feeling really excited about life. You're enjoying stuff. You're enjoying the lockdown. You're enjoying time off school and life is good. Or maybe you're feeling a bit low and a bit scared and time's dragging a little bit. What I'd say to each of us is Christians believe that God is always alongside us. Jesus always walks with us, whether we recognise him or not. In fact, Jesus' name, Emmanuel, means God with us. I want to tell you a little story now that I used to be a vicar and I sometimes used to tell at funerals, but I think it's a really helpful story. There was somebody at the end of their life and they were looking back at their life and it was a bit like a beach scene. And all the way through their life, there was a set of footprints. There was their footprint, set of footprints, and there was God's sets of footprints. And as they looked back, they saw these two sets walking together. And then suddenly they realised that at the hardest and the toughest times of their life, there was only one set of footprints. And the person said to God, God, why, when I needed you the most, did you leave me? And to which God replied, my child, I would never leave you or forsake you. Those times when it looked like there was only one set of footprints, that was the time I carried you. As a Christian, I believe God will never leave us or forsake us. He's always with us, whether we recognise him or whether we don't. Whether in the good times or the bad times, or somewhere in between. Whether time's whizzing past or whether time's dragging. Jesus, I believe as a Christian, is always with us, always helping us, always encouraging us, and always giving us those words of hope and inspiration. Shall we pray? Dear God, thank you that you don't leave us. Thank you that you are always with us. You're always on our side. You always want to bring hope and encouragement to us. Help us in those times when we feel alone to know that you are with us and that you love us and that you walk alongside us and even at times carry us. Thank you so much. Amen.